So last year, Sam and I attended Startup Weekend in Phnom Penh. We visited a local organization called Transform Cambodia. They built up this entire schooling system from scratch. What we really liked about it is that they used business rationale and a business approach to providing aid over here. And so we thought, well, can we find projects that we can work on to contribute directly? And so that was really the start of this idea. And then we thought it through, and defined what has become the Good for Nothing Challenge.
The NGO is something called Grit Learning, and Grit is about how we can, change public schooling by providing them with mobile devices to accelerate their math skills. So this week we're hoping to actually build our first core prototype. To build that we need obviously a technology kind of a stream. So there's one guy working on that. There's going to be a big design component, so we've got people just mocking things up and then testing those with kids. There's going to be effectively an educational component where we need to understand what kind of games are out there and how they kind of marry up with the Cambodian curriculum. And then the last stream is more of a commercial one, so just really understanding what schools need before they would implement a program like this in their own school.
Upstairs Team Grit are making an educational app and are strategising about what they can deliver within the week.
Well, I think you'll be able to find out literally within a day.
If I can't find it out within an hour, it's out because I don't have time for it.
For the two educational app teams, Grit and Cape, Day 2 is an opportunity to visit one of the local schools. They get to view the IT facilities and also the conditions that the local school children live in.
It looks extremely sort of basic and simple. It was tough. The school is the old school where they started out in and where the lab is really just a very basic house. It's really hot. There is no AC in there. They have 2 or 3 fans if they're going. If the power goes out, which happens quite frequently, there is no ventilation in there whatsoever. It is a really tough environment. Yeah, just when we've been out at that school and saw those kids and the environment they grow up in and the joy they have for learning, just because they understand that that's pretty much their only chance to get out of where they are. It really just gives you that additional kind of boost to really give the best you can.
The morning of Day 3 sees the Grit and Cape teams head out to the schools to test their prototypes with kids.
So we've made fairly good progress. We've got prototypes, one's semi-functional. Yeah, it's all finally coming together like a real product, that we can kind of use and stick in front of kids. Long way to go still, but we've got beginnings of something that's quite real.
Basically detective work, you're trying to figure out whether people really get something or whether they're just saying yes to be polite. And with the cultural difference that way and the language difference, sometimes it's hard to find out whether they really understand what you're saying, whether I understand what they're really saying.
The stage we're currently at is that this app's gonna crash and we'll have a dump over here that tells us why. And this is pretty much where I'm at in the moment.
Team Grit meets with World Vision in the afternoon to help solve the issue of getting their app into more Cambodian schools.
Technically, I think we've hit a bit of a speed bump. There's one particular function, very critical function, that we seem to not be able to build.
It's not as quick as we had hoped. We still have problems launching apps. That's been a bug that bugs us for days already. Can't do that. I don't know why.
So we started here, which is basically a tool you can buy for $5 off the internet. and it's called Famigo, someone else's tool. We passionate kind of believers in lean, so don't do anything you don't have to do. We basically didn't have any code written. Dave led the interaction design effort, so we went and talked to a whole bunch of kids. We actually kind of saw them in context, and we put together an interaction design model, which then the technology kind of hung off. Manu spent a lot of time basically looking through Cambodian textbooks and looking at how the Khmer math curriculum hangs together and looking at the content available on the internet and marrying those two things together. And the last thing, Rob and I just went out and talked to tons of schools and people, organisations. We talked to World Vision, we had a good chat with them to just try and understand how we can deploy what we ultimately have produced. We've kind of started from not having anything to some pretty strong bare bones. There's a whole lot of user interface and collateral that we can now chuck into it. So really from here we're looking at building up the Cambodian curriculum and getting more content. And we're looking at deploying to a few more schools so they can better understand how this prototype works. Next week I think one of our speakers, Transform Cambodia, they're really keen. They've got 20 schools here in Phnom Penh, in the slum areas, and they want to run one in one of their more kind of advanced centres further up north past the Japanese bridge.